Welcome back to Prism Radio. Today is February 24th, 2022. No show last week, I'm sure you've noticed. I got really sick with something. Wasn't COVID, but something like strep. I don't think it was strep, because I didn't have the white patches that you normally get with strep. But boy, it certainly felt like it. I was just in bed for like 3 days straight. Like 2 days straight, and then most of the third day. It was pretty rough. So I just didn't have it in me, and I did not think that I should be talking a lot, trying to do my radio show, trying to get my throat better. But luckily we are back this week, and we got a lot of good stuff on the list today. I will say, if you're a fan of Chris Christodoulou's work on Risk of Rain, there's 2 songs on this show that you're really gonna like. I believe I played him on the show before, but Chris Christodoulou did the soundtrack for both Risk of Rain games, and he is excellent. Probably one of my favorite video game soundtracks, and the music in those games is not undeserving of its praise. Very, very stellar, very standout. So we got 2 songs on the list that remind me heavily of his work. A lot of other cool stuff today. It's kind of mixed. There's a lot more of an electronic sound tonight, but we do have a lot of good stuff. The first song we're going to be playing is one of the songs I mentioned that reminds me of Risk of Rain. It's from a French composer, and it's an electronic song. It is an electronic album, by the way, as well. But I just discovered him recently, and I think it was off my Spotify recommendations, which they've been getting very good as of late. I think the more that I add to my master playlist, the more they kind of algorize. I don't think that's a word. My musical taste, so I'm getting more good stuff to put on the show. But this is Buccal Infini with System.
it's like a curse. Anybody want up, no effort to put them in a hearse. One touch, no challenge, need a patch, no balance, no match, only malice. I need purpose, always searching. I got blood in my vision, unstoppable, killing, no call me a bomber, no there is no option. There when they're walking, don't ever hard, and I am the enemy, rip you apart. I'll die a king, but part of me just wishes all my fallen dreams would come to life, succumb to strife, don't care to play, just let me waste the life. Sacrifice everything to slave away. In my mind I feel I am lifeless. With the strength like this, pointless. The threat of this has lost its power. God, it will cease to exist.
Prism Radio, welcome back. That last song was Carnage by The Browning. And it definitely seems like that band belongs more back in like 2008. For some reason, and they don't sound anything alike, but they remind me a lot of Broken Side. You remember Broken Side? Man, wasn't that a... I can't say much. I unironically listened to Broken Side back in the day. So I'm guilty of anything that I say. But what a time that the 2000s were such a disaster for popular music. And Broken Side only ever got popular because they were like really, really bad. And they are. I'm definitely not saying they're good by any stretch, but I was that kid that unironically listened to them sometimes. I actually kind of like The Browning, which is weird because I don't really like dubstep, rap, or post-hardcore. And that song was basically just a mix of all three of those genres. But it kind of works, maybe because it's like it's played so straight. It's like so corny, but they just play it completely straight face. And I was like, alright, kind of have to respect the hustle if that's what they're doing. So more power to them. But it's kind of like intriguing and fun. It would not be out of place in some like really like janky AAA shooter game. Like I can definitely see that playing over some like set piece in a Call of Duty game. That's the kind of thing that it's going for, and it's like, you know what? If that's what they're doing, that's fine. Coming up next is a UK-based band that I like. You may have noticed, but I like when songs have conflicting sounds. Like if they go from really harsh to really soft, or really soft to really harsh, or any sort of like extreme tempo change or change in aggressiveness. I really like that. And this song pulls it off quite well. I don't remember what show it was, but Unsaid One by Show Me a Dinosaur. I played that before, and that kind of ends with like a almost classic rock, happy acoustic guitar after some really aggressive post-black metal. That's the kind of stuff I really like. This isn't that, to that extreme, but it's a very nice, starts off pretty slow and quiet, and it ramps up, and it's very nice for a genre that I don't really listen to much. I don't really know if this qualifies as stoner rock, but that's what they call it. So this is Kobe by Bosk, Bossk. told you there's going to be more electronic on the show tonight, and it's really good stuff. That was Cybercrimes by Sidewalks and Skeletons. If you're wondering what the name means, they said that it's a metaphor that they came up with for death. The only things that will remain after you die are sidewalks and skeletons, the earth you walk, and your bones. That's a pretty interesting name. I like when groups just make up names on the spot, something that's, just unique to them, and there's really no, story behind it. I mean, those are cool, too. But, finding out why bands or groups are named the way they are is always really interesting to me. And then you have something like Massive Fermenting Dregs, where they're just like, I don't know, sounded cool. Just as respectable. But yes, new group that I just heard about very recently. A lot of the stuff you're going to hear on the show is stuff that I've heard within, probably the month that I show it to you. Got to keep myself on the cutting edge if I want to, introduce other people to new music. And I don't know, I've been more into electronic music and dance music, and not really. I don't know if this counts as club music. I've never been to a club, but I could definitely see myself going somewhere and having that play. It's very sci-fi strobe kind of club feeling, which is really cool. Next song, moving on, is I've noticed that my show is overpopulated with black metal, and I don't really get into other genres, just because black metal is kind of my specialty. So I dug out something that I found about recently, just a couple months ago. I think they're a fairly new group. At least it was a new release, I believe. So I've definitely been neglecting my death metal side, my death metal fans, because I've been mostly doing doom metal for my one friend and black metal, which is my thing. But I've really been neglecting my death metal, and especially the more old school. I was gonna say old school. That's not exactly what I meant. I didn't mean 80s death metal, which is good too, but I meant more 2000s death metal, which is still 20 years old, by the way. So I did get a good song for that. This is gonna be Crypt of Ice by Frozen Soul.
me. I'm the one you want. I have to face the now, the part. My life is yours. I'm ready to break out. I am the son of no one. I am in search of meaning. I am the last to suffer. I am the fear in healing. I am the son of no one. I am in search of meaning. I am the last to suffer. I am the fear in healing. We will fill your silence with our timeless, aimless truth. We will fill your silence while we bind ourselves to you.
And Beyond the Pale Society by Junius. Junius. Kind of reminds me a lot of some more of the older 90s Anathema stuff, with a little bit faster and more aggressive than old Anathema. They were more kind of in the doom genre, but starts off really strong, and I have a habit of putting stuff on my master playlist, forgetting about it, and then listening to my stuff on shuffle and hearing something for the first time and be like, wow, this sounds really, really good. And then I look and I was like, I don't have any recollection of putting this on my list. And that's what happened with this. It started blasting and I was like, oh, did I forget to, did I put some black metal on my list and I don't remember? And then the clean vocals kick in. I was like, okay, this is not what I expected, but this is really good. It's reminding me a lot of old Anathema. I dig it. And anything that reminds me of Anathema in any context deserves a follow or a like. And if you were thinking that I had forgotten about the Risk of Rain stuff, I certainly haven't. We're moving into that. And this is a band I've heard of before, and I didn't really ever check them out, and I don't really know why, but I've known that they existed. And they just released a new album within the last couple weeks, and I was like, why not? I'll check them out, and I'll see what they're about. And I checked it out, and I was like, this is just Risk of Rain music. And they didn't always used to do prog metal. They used to do thrash metal back in like the 90s, I think it was. And like I said, I heard of them, but never really followed their stuff. So I don't know how long they did actual thrash metal for, or if they changed, or if this whole prog metal thing is a completely new avenue for them. But I was really digging this album. And again, anything that reminds me of Chris Christodoulou's work is awesome. And honestly, you could throw this right into Risk of Rain 2, and I wouldn't even notice a difference. So here we go with The Winged Ones by Cynic. and Into the Forest of Iniquity by Within Thy Wounds. This is a Orthodox Christian dude from Texas that makes atmospheric black metal, crossing over into DSBM. But it doesn't sound that depressive, so I'll leave it in the atmospheric category. And it's really hard to find any sort of like good Christian metal in any capacity, especially black metal. And your choices are pretty limited. But I'm glad that what we have is actually really good. There was like a handful of bands that I found that were just not bad, but just generic, and I don't know. I think there's a difference between being bad and generic. At least bad is like noticeable, and you're like, wow, I gotta show other people this because this is like atrocious. Generic is like, why, whatever. So they stuff like that. But I'm glad that a lot of the stuff that I've been finding is really, really good. And he only has one album out. I think he has an EP and then this album. This album came out in 2020. And we haven't had anything from him since. So I'm really hoping he's still making music. Him and the other big one that I remember, well, there's Gauspod. I've played him before. And Fathomage, which I think I've played before. But those are the three. Within Thy Wounds, Gauspod, and Fathomage are the big three that I can think of. There's Crimson Moonlight, but their religious views are questionable. It's very interesting. And they have like a book that kind of explains it, and I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to read it. I skimmed it, and there was a lot of Masonic stuff in it. And I was like, alright, that's all I need to know about it. I mean, Crimson Moonlight's a good band. That's not the problem here. But Crimson Moonlight's actually very good. They have several albums. So if you're into, aggressive black metal, they're your go-to guys for Christian black metal, pretty much. But Fathomage is pretty aggressive too. It's kind of scratchy, in like what's a word called, like low production, true cult, if you want to call it. Within Thy Wounds is more atmospheric and laid back, and Gauspod, of course, he's so unique that I don't even know what to compare him to. I would say Batushka, but we all know we don't listen to them. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for the show tonight. I hope everyone had a good time. I hope this is all stuff that's really new to me, so I'm hoping that something stood out to you that, you can listen to more on your own. And a lot of this is stuff that I don't really listen to a whole lot. Electronic's not really my main genre in any capacity. So a lot of this was stuff outside of my comfort zone, but I love it. It's all great. And we're going to end the show, of course, with Anathema, as always, as is tradition. I just want to thank you very much for tuning in again. Love the views. I love my followers. I love talking about the show. Thank you very much for all your support. God bless. This is going to be Anathema with a self-titled track, Anathema. Have a good night.
A purpose sometimes it gave us a reason and a rhyme, looking for meaning in song, searching and searching so long. But we laughed and we cried and we fought and we tried and we failed, but time.